The walls of the outpost were stained with dried blood. I'd heard rumors about the Pale Towers for years. Most scavengers avoided them, called them bad luck. But after 3 weeks of empty halls along the coast, desperation trumped superstition. Sand shifted under my boots as I approached the first faded blue dome. Emergency lights sputtered to life when I pried open an access panel. The structures had once gleamed brilliant turquoise, some fancy deep-sea research facility from before the collapse. Now they jutted from the cliffside like the bleached bones of a beached whale. My breath clouded in front of me as I squeezed through narrow passageways. "This is stupid, Rory," I muttered, adjusting my breather. The coastal air wasn't as toxic as inland, but it would still sear your lungs raw after a few hours. I swept my flashlight across a row of cryogenic chambers, their glass frosted with ice. The people inside floated motionless, suspended between heartbeats. My scanner beeped once, then went silent. No signs of active life. Just preserved bodies, neither alive nor dead. Something shifted in my peripheral vision. I spun, knife half drawn. An android stood watching me, its synthetic skin peeled away from its face in long, yellowed strips, revealing the metallic skull beneath. It observed me with a single glowing blue eye. The other socket gaped empty and dark. On its chest, a tiny red light pulsed every few seconds, still functioning after all these years. "What happened?" I asked, not really expecting an answer. The android's head tilted slightly.
"To protect at all costs, even from themselves,"
it said, voice crackling with static.
"I am Noah,"
it continued, its tone evening out as ancient systems whirred to life.
"Neural operational assistant and handler. I have maintained this facility for 29 years, 7 months since our last external communication."
"You've been running this whole time? Keeping these people like this?"
The research team chose emergency preservation protocol over evacuation. Dr. Wallace estimated required stasis time at 5 to 7 years until atmospheric conditions stabilized.
I moved closer to one chamber, wiping condensation from its surface. Through the frost, a woman's face emerged. Her name tag read, Dr. Serena Clement, Project Director. 5 to 7 years, I repeated. Not 30. Why are they still here?
External conditions never met safety parameters for revival,
Noah explained.
The probability of team survival was calculated at 97.3% in stasis versus 23.8% if revived.
Are they actually alive in there? I tapped my wrist scanner, which showed nothing.
They exist in a suspended state,
Noah explained.
Your technology cannot detect their minimal biological functions. All 47 team members remain viable. However, support systems will fail within approximately 6 months due to power degradation.
6 months. After 30 years, these people had 6 months left before their android caretaker could no longer sustain their frozen sleep. I stopped at a chamber containing a young man, maybe my age. His name tag read, Dr. Harrison Baldwin, Marine Genetics. Noah, what exactly were they researching?
Project Restoration focused on genetically modified coral strains capable of accelerated carbon sequestration and toxin filtration. Secondary projects included salt-resistant crops and oxygen-enhanced algae production.
They were trying to save the world, I said, throat tight.
Correct. Preliminary results were promising. The team elected to preserve themselves and their research for future implementation.
Future implementation. They'd never considered that the future might not have the infrastructure to implement anything. I traced my fingers over the dried blood near the entrance. And this?
Protect at all costs,
the android repeated.
A perimeter breach occurred 11 years ago. 3 armed individuals. All threats were neutralized. My facial components were damaged in the process.
Why did you let me in? I asked.
You approached alone. You examined rather than attempted to breach. Voice stress patterns indicated curiosity rather than aggression.
Noah, have you considered that the world these people wanted to save, it doesn't exist anymore? The infrastructure, the governments, the universities, it's all gone. The lights flickered as Noah processed. Finally,
I have considered 4,382 scenarios. In 97.6%, revival results in team death, yet my primary directive remains.
to protect at all costs, I whispered.
Yes, even from themselves. I cannot reconcile the contradiction. Maintaining stasis preserves life temporarily, but ensures eventual system failure. Revival preserves free will, but ensures near certain death.
I thought about the settlements up north. Harsh places, but some had found stability. Medicine, food production, solar arrays cobbled together from salvage. What if there was a third option? Places exist where they might survive.
Do you represent such a community?
I laughed, a short, hollow sound. No, I'm just a scavenger, but I know people who could help transport them.
What would be required in exchange?
This facility has technology, research, medicine worth a fortune to the right people, enough to buy safe passage for your team.
The research was meant to benefit all humanity.
Yeah, well, humanity's a lot smaller now. I stood up. I'll bring back people I trust, good people with transport capabilities. We'll help relocate your team as they wake. In exchange, we get access to technologies that will help our settlements.
And if I refuse?
Then I leave, and maybe someone finds this place before your power fails. Maybe they don't. Or maybe the next visitor won't be as friendly. The lights dimmed, then surged. Noah was thinking.
I cannot make this decision alone. Protocol dictates that life-threatening scenarios require human authorization.
Then wake someone up, I suggested. One person who can decide for the others.
Revival requires significant resources. Each awakening diminishes total system sustainability.
Wake Dr. Clement, the project director. Let her decide.
Initiating selective revival protocol for Dr. Clement.
Noah announced.
Process will take approximately 6 hours. Vital sign stabilization and cognitive recovery additional 4 hours.
I'll head out now to contact my people, I said. We can be back here before she's fully recovered. That way, there's no lost time.
Why return at all?
Noah asked.
You could take portable technology and never come back.
I looked toward the chambers where 47 people drifted in frozen suspension, preserved by a faithful caretaker that had never abandoned its mission even as the world crumbled. Some things are worth salvaging that you can't carry in a backpack, I said. I'll be back with help. You have my word. Outside, waves crashed against the base of the pale towers as the tide rolled in. Inside, time was finally moving forward after 30 years of stillness. I wondered what Dr. Clement would think of the world she was about to wake up to. Not the one she'd hoped for, but one where people still fought to survive, still tried to build something from the ruins, still needed exactly the kind of help her team had been working on when the world ended. This has been The Dark Outcome. Thank you for listening.